Trail talk time. Out on another beauty of a trail. Breathing in that fresh chi. Loving this beautiful day. Starting to rain a little bit. But today I wanted to talk about racism and breaking each other down into race and color and, feeling divided. I've spoken in many videos about, that's the way that we continue to be disempowered by those who continue to break us down and separate us, always separating us into all these different sections of class and color and race and all these different things to keep us divided. And as they say, divided we fall, right? United we stand. United we stand tall and we become empowered. So as long as we're continually divided, then we're not, remaining in our power, which is our oneness. There have been so many people that have come along and broken down people into different categories for different reasons, right? And some have been helpful just for researching certain things and seeing certain habits of people that live in different places all around the world. And there was one guy, Johann Blumenbach, in the 1700s, and he broke people down into 5 different races. And he was studying human skulls, and he wasn't specifically calling them like a color, but there were 5 different categories of race that he broke them down into. And before that, there were, different French scientists and everything that were breaking people down into different categories by color and everything as well. But if you look at the terms that most people generally use, like white people or black people, if you really look at most people, they're not actually that color, right? Like black. If you look at, let's say, this fence right here on the side, that's black. Most people that would consider themselves or that others may consider to be black people aren't actually the color black. And the same goes for white people, right? The color that most people are that would consider themselves to be white or that others would consider them to be white, their skin isn't actually white. So these terms, these concepts, I laugh because it's funny that there's been so much, so much incredible travesties that have gone on over the years based on these things that aren't even correct. Right? And, if you identify as one of these things, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And certainly we should be proud of who we are. But I think it's important to look at those words that we use and to see how funny it is that it's not actually correct. And, there's definitely a lot of movements going on right now that are so beautiful, right? Black Lives Matter is a huge movement that is so powerful and it's so helpful because, people who have been broken down into that category and who identify as black people in America especially, they have been, completely disenfranchised. They've been treated unfairly for so long. And so these movements spring up to try and restore equality in human beings. And that's a beautiful thing, right? It's funny seeing people debate over these terms. Black lives matter, all lives matter. I think it's just sad that we even need to get to that point, right? We have so much stains on our history. I live in Canada, and we even learned in history class about all of these things, about who they would let into the country at a certain point. And people who they would consider or deem as worthy of coming into the country. And it's all by color and race that they did it, right? So many travesties in our history based on race and color and everything. We had the Asian internment camps where Asian people were forced to assimilate into this type of culture that we started building in Canada, and they were stripped of their culture, right? And that's the way that this colonial mindset works. It's divide and conquer. It conquers nations, it conquers groups of people, and it strips away, their culture, and it forces them to assimilate into a new type of culture that they deem as being the best. And it's just so sad, The beautiful thing about this planet, about the hue man, is all these different hues and all these different vibes, all these different things going on at once, all this variety. It's so beautiful. We can all learn from each other. We don't have to, look at somebody different than us and think, wow, they're not as good as us, right? I've talked about that about religion as well, right? The beauty of religion is just to seek something higher, to find meaning in life. And just because somebody else has a different idea about life and what it all means, it doesn't mean they're somehow less than you, right? It's just silly. And at the end of the day, they've traced human beings back to one origin, one female that they've named Lucy, right? In Africa, in Ethiopia. And so if you look at that racist mindset, thinking that you're somehow superior than another race or color or something, and you only vibe with your own. Well, if you go back far enough into your own family, and you'll realize that we're all one family. We're all one. We all come from the same origin. We're all one species. The human being. And beyond that, we're all just made of star stuff. As Carl Sagan would say. We're all made from the collapsed interior of stars, right? Carl Sagan was so amazing. He saw that we're all made of the exact same stuff, and all these little differences that we continue to, divide each other from, and based on are so minute compared to, all the similarities that we share as human beings. If we can recognize that beauty of our commonalities, living here in this beautiful planet, imagine where we could be right now. Imagine where we could take ourselves. Instead of fighting for resources, we could come together, start to use these resources to empower each other and rise each other up. And I see times like this coming, There's a term that I've talked about, the dark night of the soul. There's a dark moment, or a moment of turmoil, great turmoil, that people have in their lives before they have this realization or moment of enlightenment. It takes them being broken down and sucked down so deep into the darkness for them to, come out of the other side and be brought into the light. And so you see the beauty of the darkness, right? All this racist mindset towards so-called black people. But you can't have light without the dark, right? And so perhaps this time on the planet, we've been in a dark night of the soul, but we'll come out of the other end shining so bright when we realize our oneness. We come together as one in unity. That's a beautiful vision that I continue to hold for humanity, because that's what we are. We are one human race. And so to continue to divide each other and divide ourselves by these races and colors, to me, is just silly. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of your skin, whatever color it may be. Be proud of whatever culture you want to represent. And don't allow anybody to make you feel inferior to them or anybody else. Any argument that they put towards that is false. We're all equally deserving of a free life here. So I want to spread that love to everybody, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like. You deserve love. Everybody deserves love. So sending everyone tons of love today. Come together and start to see, the beauty of the differences, instead of thinking of others that are different than you as being somehow less than you. Find the beauty in everyone. So yeah, that's it for today. Have an amazing day. Peace and limitless love.